All right, let's talk about cloud governance and security. And look, I get it. The second you hear words like rules, policies, or compliance, it's easy to tune out. But what if we thought about it differently? Not as a bunch of boring chores, but as the actual blueprint for building an impenetrable fortress in the cloud. Let's dive in.
So I want you to ask yourself a really simple question. Is your cloud just on? Is it just running? Or is it running right? Efficiently, securely, the way it's supposed to. That gap between running and running right, that's exactly what governance is all about. And bridging that gap is how you unlock the real value of your cloud.
So what is cloud governance? Well, it's basically the rule book. But honestly, a better way to think about it is as the set of building codes for your own digital city, right? Without building codes, you'd get total chaos. Structures would be unstable, unsafe, and you could never scale. Governance is what brings that essential order to your cloud.
Okay, so we have our building codes, but how do we actually enforce them? See, in a real city, you'd need an army of inspectors and mountains of paperwork. But in the cloud, we can do something way more powerful. We can literally write the rules into the system itself. And that's a game changer. Governance goes from being a passive checklist to an active, always-on guardian.
This whole automation thing really works in 3 amazing stages. First, you standardize. This means every new server, every new database, it's all built from a pre-approved, secure blueprint. No more shadow IT or rogue servers popping up. Second, you can update everything at once. A new security threat comes out, boom. Instead of a mad scramble to patch things manually, you just push the fix across your entire infrastructure. And finally, the system becomes your 24/7 inspector. It audits everything constantly, and if it finds anything out of line, it flags it and usually tells you exactly how to fix it.
So what's the bottom line here? Why does this matter so much? Well, it means your developers aren't guessing anymore. They can build fast, innovate, and have confidence because they know they're operating within safe guardrails. And compliance? It stops being this big, scary audit you do once a year and just becomes the normal state of things. You're not just organized, you're more secure and way more agile.
All right, so our digital city has its building codes, and everything's running smoothly. Now it's time to build the fortress walls. Because a well-run city is a juicy target, and when it comes to cloud security, one size definitely does not fit all. Let's look at how you tailor your defenses.
The very first choice you have to make is how hands-on you want to be. I like to think of it like pizza. IaaS, or infrastructure as a service, that's like making pizza from scratch. You buy the flour, the yeast, the tomatoes, you have total maximum control over everything. But you're also responsible for everything. On the other hand, you've got PaaS and SaaS, platform and software as a service. That's like ordering delivery. It shows up hot and ready to go. Super convenient, right? The pizza shop handles all the security and prep. One gives you control, the other gives you convenience. There's no wrong answer. It just depends on what your team needs.
Now here's a really important mindset shift. You are not in this alone. You're not defending that fortress by yourself. Your cloud provider is your biggest, most powerful security partner. I mean, these companies operate at a global scale with threat intelligence and resources most of us can only dream of.
So what do you actually get from that partnership? Well, for starters, a defense system you probably couldn't build yourself. Let's take a DDoS attack. That's when hackers try to knock you offline by flooding your site with junk traffic. An attack that would completely vaporize a private data center? For a major cloud provider, that's often just a Tuesday. They have the sheer scale to absorb these massive attacks, reroute traffic, and keep you online, sometimes before you even know you're under attack.
Okay, so we've talked about the rules. That's governance. And we've talked about the walls. That's security. Now, let's bring it all together with the single most important idea of all. Seriously, if you remember one thing from our time here, make it this.
What's the one thing that guarantees your digital city doesn't just get built, but actually thrives for years and years? The one principle that underpins everything else? It is
This: establishing strong governance early. It's not an add-on. It's not something you bolt on at the end or figure out later. It is the foundation. Getting those building codes right from day one is the only way to make sure that your city can grow into that secure, well-managed fortress we've been talking about. Everything else is built on top of this.
So let's end with this. Your cloud isn't just a utility bill you pay every month. It's a massive strategic asset. So the real question you should be asking yourself is this: is your governance strategy turning that asset into a true competitive advantage?